Hey everyone, it's Fox with Foxeo Plays. You're watching my Let's Play channel, and this is a revisit of Dark Souls 2. Now, any of you who know me, or know me at all, or my content from FoxeoGames knows that I was very critical of Dark Souls 2. Though I did give a fairly positive review, I got caught up in the hype, and I really didn't criticize it as much as I would have preferred. I did upload subsequent videos on my FoxeoGames channel. That's my other channel, link in the description if you don't know about it, where I heavily criticized the game. And when you just catch me kind of chatting in the Steam chat group on Twitter, anywhere online, in the comment section or on my live streams, you'll see me being very negative to Dark Souls 2. So what this is really is a reevaluation, a revisit of the game after I've been away from it for a while to give it a second chance. I haven't at this point entirely decided what the title's going to be. It's going to be something like Dark Souls 2 Revisited playthrough, or Dark Souls 2 reevaluated, or maybe Dark Souls 2 second chance playthrough. Just look at the title. That's what I decided on. So let's start a new game. I had actually uninstalled Dark Souls 2 at one point because I just made the assumption I would never really get back to it. And for the longest time I didn't. And then I did. I did come back to it simply because I just wanted to evaluate some of the new patches to the game. Now, I should let you guys know that there are quite a few modifications, maybe some mods like SweetFX and the Gem mod, that's GEM, the Jito Sato modification. So I may get soft banned if I have not been soft banned from PvP or online play, and at this point I really don't care. From soft, you know, if they're gonna soft ban me, go ahead. Make my day. I don't really plan on playing any PvP in this game anyway. Today's drink of choice is mint tea. Just a simple tea bag, nothing fancy. I did turn on MFAA, which is a feature that they allow in games like Dark Souls 2 if you have an NVIDIA graphics card. I think I might turn it up in terms of the quality level because I still see a little bit of that, what I like to call that anti-aliasing flicker. And that's when you see kind of like little jagged edges on things that make it appear like it's flickering. So the graphics will look better than they actually have any right to, because this is not how the graphics would look if I were to play the game at its stock settings. In fact, the stock settings, the lighting looks absolutely flat and terrible. And one of the biggest criticisms that I think most people shared about the game's look was that very flat, very boring lighting and contrast, especially given what the lighting was in the pre-release footage. Excuse me. We're going to skip all the CGI cutscenes. That's very typical of what I do. I'm going to type my name out here. Let's just, you know, we haven't called this character... I'm sorry, we haven't called any of the other characters much. There's only one other character on this account, or on this game, because I deleted it so all the save files went with it. Usually I play as a female character, so I'll stick with that. And let's go with maybe a typical name. How about one? I don't know if we've used this one. Sayuri? Let's go with that. How about that? Just click OK, and yeah, I think that's fine. We're going to skip that. Now, for some reason, it seems like, I don't know if they patched it or if I just remember incorrectly, but I thought there was this delay between when you actually hit the start button and when it skipped the cinematic, but now it seems like it's skipping the cinematic right away. Very odd that they give you a broken sword to start out with the knight. I consider that very odd that it looks all broken and nasty, because none of the other weapons are really that gross or kind of disgusting looking, broken looking, because if you look at any of these other weapons, they all look quite reasonable. Never quite know what to pick. The warrior seems like a good choice, given that he's the only one with a shield, but that shield is actually pretty bad. The knight makes sense again, but, you know, I guess their idea of a knight doesn't include a shield, which, again, I just find so odd. I am going to be evaluating the game, which is criticisms, you know, negatives and positives. It may be more negative than positive, or, you know, we'll see. I'm pretty sure it will be, though. The game hasn't essentially changed. The reason I'm not playing Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin is, first of all, I can't reevaluate something that's newer, that's that new, and one that I haven't played all the way through. I haven't played that game all the way through because I just don't think it's a good. I don't think it was a good decision for them to release it. Really, I feel like Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, just made Dark Souls 2 worse in general. If you are going to play, let me see here. If you are going to play the game, I highly recommend that you go ahead and play, let's see, we'll go with Ultra Skinny, how about that? I definitely recommend that you go ahead and play Dark Souls 2, not Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. I really feel like Scholar of the First Sin just made the game worse overall. I think it added more elements that were quite annoying. I was very disappointed in their hair options and whatnot. They just didn't seem to be a whole lot. And then in terms of faces, like there aren't a whole bunch of defaults that you can choose from, which kind of sucks. Like, I mean, it seems to me like you should give us a whole bunch of defaults to select from, and then we can, you know, choose the one that most closely matches, you know, what we kind of want. But, you know, whatever. See if we can get this just a little less dark. Okay. Whoops. Just reset it. Let me try this again. Yeah, we want it slightly on the brown side. No, that's not it. Whatever. Alright, that's that. Interesting that eyebrow color doesn't just default to whatever you select hair color to as well. Just, you know, some odd decisions they made in regards to the options here. You see, dark brown. Okay, no tattoo needed. All right, well, we'll stick with that. I mean, it's not a great looking character, but, you know, they don't really give us many defaults, and I don't want to waste too much time on that. I never do really in games worry that much about it, because for the most part, you're not even looking at yourself. And even if you are, you're generally going to... I forgot I had all that extra stuff from the pre-order. Back when I, you know, was a little less opposed to pre-orders, but now I'm pretty much... I'm opposed to nearly all pre-orders, but not all pre-orders. I actually just pre-ordered a game last week. I pre-ordered Xenoblade Chronicles X, the Collector's Edition, and I only pre-ordered it because it's a very limited edition collector's game. So, wait, I thought there was a human effigy in here somewhere. Does she give us one, maybe? No, maybe not. I also skip all of the, not just the cutscenes, but the dialogue in general, because this isn't a lore playthrough. And I feel like if that's what you wanted to really get into, you would go watch someone who does one of those, or you would just play it for yourself, obviously. Let's see, I might have, do I have music turned off? I do. Let's turn the music on. How about that? And then voice chat's restricted, definitely. I just don't believe that voice chat makes the game. I just feel like this game doesn't really fit voice chat. All right, we got our first torch, and I stick with the B button for jumping simply because pressing on the analog stick is slightly difficult, given that when you put pressure on the stick, you can actually accidentally push it in the wrong direction, and pushing it in the wrong direction as soon as you place pressure on it, that means you want to jump, and you're probably already facing the direction you want to jump. So if you accidentally change directions, you're really just kind of putting yourself in a bad situation at that point. One of my biggest complaints, if not quite simply the biggest complaint I have about Dark Souls 2, is the control. The controls in the game, I feel, just aren't very good in general. Not the button mapping, that's fine. My biggest complaint is just how it feels. The lock-on being very loose, like when you roll away from a target, you face away from the target. When you roll while attacking, you'll oftentimes attack in a different direction, the direction you don't mean to, because you face away. So you can even attack in the wrong direction while locked onto your target, which is kind of, well, not kind of frustrating, it's very frustrating. In addition to that, there are a lot of other issues, like the floatiness of the controls and the feeling that everything's just slightly laggy and slow to respond, and just a generally unenjoyable control feeling in general. So, oh, turned him right around. Interesting that right now I'm obviously playing, hang on. Oh no, I've got my okay, I grabbed my mug to drink some tea, and I was trying not to get hit while drinking. There we go, okay. One of the odd things is that you notice when I backstabbed that guy, it looked very much like an online lag stab. He was practically facing me, then he kind of instantly shifted around like we remember back in the old Dark Souls days of PvP, which, I mean, they're still around now. But interestingly enough, I'm playing in my own game against NPCs, so there obviously should be no lag whatsoever. So you can see right there that when people say that all of the little issues that I bring up about the controls or the what seems to be like lagginess to the controls. People say, oh well, that's that's network latency. Well, obviously it's not, because I'm fighting NPCs in my own game, and that's not network latency. This is not an online game. These guys are being spawned on my computer, and my computer is doing all the rendering, and there's no one even connected to me at the moment, so it's all being done essentially offline, even though I'm connected online. There's no reason to believe that. Let's see here. Kick this down. There we go. There's no reason to believe that that has anything to do with network latency, and obviously doesn't. So in that case, I gotta remember how to get down ladders. They decided to change it from, from Demon Souls to Dark Souls. There was a modification. From Dark Souls to Dark Souls 2, there was a modification. From Dark Souls 2 to Bloodborne, there's a modification. They just love changing it up. Make it more confusing. Just like all my other playthroughs, we're going to try to make these episodes approximately 45 minutes long. Although I do like to try to end them at a reasonable point. I don't like to just stop right in the middle of an area for no reason, other than time limit. So some may go slightly longer, some may go slightly shorter. Like if I finish an area and kind of complete the boss at 39 minutes, then we'll probably cut it there. Or if it takes me, 52 minutes to complete the area and finish the boss, then we'll cut it at that point. Like I said, I don't want my playthrough episodes to be kind of nonsensical, just straight up 45-minute cuts. I gotta remember how to jump. Is this where I jump down? Yeah, okay. Whoa, wow, how did I... Okay. I nearly went completely off the edge there. What is this? Morning Star. Okay, yeah. That's a decent weapon to start out with. It does significant damage, and it does a good bit of poise damage. Yeah, the poise in this game as well is just really weird. It's like you stack all this poise and it doesn't really seem to do anything. For the longest time, people thought poise just simply didn't work. And I'm kind of the belief that it really doesn't work. It's broken. Even if it works the way they intended it to, I just don't think it's very functional for the purposes of playing the game. Now, to get to some positive notes, I kind of like Majula as a whole. The one complaint I might have is that, Majula being your base of operations makes sense, and I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. It's just like Firelink, but it's a very bright area, and although you couldn't necessarily call it cheery, it's broken down and stuff's falling apart, it sort of betrays that feeling that Dark Souls had, and the feeling that Bloodborne has, and the feeling that Demon Souls has, that of utter isolation, that there's nothing around, there's no normal civilization, that you're in this sort of broken down, completely fallen apart world that doesn't even resemble anything that humans would want to construct. I mean, even when you go through areas like Blighttown and Dark Souls, any of the areas of Lordran, pretty much, it's nothing in there looks like you feel like it should for a civilization. I thought he gave a ring. I guess not. Oh, there we go. Join the Way of Blue. I guess so. There's nothing else to do right now. And we get the ring, so hey. Something.
That is all.
Alright. Does that ring do anything else other than help with co-op? Oh, and very, very interesting that they give you the life ring when you start out, but they don't auto-equip it for you, which I feel like is just a really bad choice, because why would you not want that auto-equipped? Obviously, you would want that auto-equipped. I always come back here thinking I'm going to find some hidden item. You would, of course, want that equipped, and the last thing you're going to think about when you start playing the game is, oh, hey, that ring I selected, I better go equip it. No, you're going to start the game out and just assume you're not even going to think about it, if you're like me, and I imagine most people do that. Alright, let's get our first Estus. By the way, people have very interestingly pointed out that she talks about becoming the next monarch, and that seems to betray the whole purpose of your mission to cure the curse, or to remove the curse. It then suddenly becomes the thing about becoming the next monarch. I don't know, I'm not really sure they fully thought through what they wanted to do with this game, what they wanted the game to be about, and what the lore and story, what all was supposed to go on with that. I know there's some enemies here, but, oh, I forgot there's nothing there. We'll leave them alone, they're just kind of a waste of time. People have asked how I managed to run while moving the camera. I don't know if it's technically called the claw grip, but it's a grip similar to that. Basically, I put my pointer finger on the B button to run like this, and then I continue to use my thumb to move the analog stick. So instead of using my thumb to hit the B button like you would normally, I just move my pointer finger up. But it does require a total shift of your hand placement on the gamepad. I'm using an Xbox One gamepad. I do really honestly... Wow, you came all the way in here, didn't you, little piggy? Yeah, we're going to actually miss with some of our attacks. That's kind of silly. So we'll not bother with that for now. Excuse me, pigs. I understand movesets, but, you know, having these tiny enemies on the ground that you're just swinging over, even while locked on, standing right on top of them, is absurd to me. It happened occasionally in Dark Souls, or did it happen in Demon Souls? I think it might have happened very rarely in Demon Souls, not normally. But in Dark Souls 2, it seems to be a much bigger issue. Like, you can sit on top of one of those crystal lizards that's roaming around and just be swinging away endlessly while locked on from every angle you can try, and it just won't work. As you can see, I had to keep restarting dialogues with her to get her to finally bring up a menu for me, which is a big frustration, obviously, and one of the complaints people had. Others would say, well, actually, everybody, she's just like the Maiden in Black. Was that her name? Shoot, now I'm forgetting. Yeah, I think it was the Maiden in Black from Demon Souls. I don't remember if that's exactly her name or not. But she would actually have a dialogue when you talk to her before you can level up. However, the dialogue would not actually prevent you from accessing the level up menu. The dialogue occurred in the background as you progressed to the level up menu, so you could actually level up while she continued her dialogue. In the case of the Emerald Herald, did I call her the Emerald Herald or the Maiden? The Emerald Herald, she requires that you hit the A button or whatever button you're using. I think, what is it, 4 times to get to the level up screen or the level up menu? You have to hit it 4 times to push through her dialogue. Each and every time, which is nothing but tedious at best. And it's, you know, it's dialogue that you've heard so many times before that it just, you know, it's kind of mind-numbingly boring at that point. You certainly don't want to hear it for the 100th time. Also, going back to having you level up at the green, or the Emerald Herald, I keep saying green, I guess Emerald is green in a way, I think was a bad choice, simply because it doesn't make sense in the story. I know I can jump across that gap, but occasionally I fail it, because the jump controls in the Souls games have never been very good, so we're going to take the safe route. Let's see here. Another interesting thing is when they give you the Estus, they do not auto-select it for you by default. Again, very odd. Let's go back here and grab this item. Yeah, Scholar of the First Sin puts a giant ogre here, which is just, in my opinion, completely unreasonable, because you're just not going to be able to effectively tackle them at this point. I know there is one back in the starting area, which actually we'll want to go back there and get a ring, now that I think about it. Let's hit this bonfire first, since we're all the way over here. But that one is sort of hidden. It's like this kind of, not Easter egg, but it's a little hidden secret that gives you a treasure if you overcome the challenge. When they put the ogre here in Scholar of the First Sin, it's not some sort of secret. It's actually right in your way. It's right in your way, blocking your progression. So although you can try to get past it, or sneak past it, yeah. One of the frustrations in this game is how slow movements are, how slow attacks are, the long recovery times for many attacks, which were all present to one degree or another in Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and even in Bloodborne. But they just seemed more snappy, more responsive. It just felt like you had better reflexes. Like in this game, I constantly feel like my player character is just standing there doing nothing, or just finishing a drawn-out, elongated animation, instead of allowing me to take control. Let's go back and get the ring from the ogre in Things Betwixt. Yeah, okay. There we go. I do like the soul vessel concept. I think it's a great idea allowing players to respec. I'm not opposed to that at all, because especially your first time through the game, and even maybe a few subsequent times, you're not really going to know what you're doing entirely, unless you're following a guide. And even then, it may be common to make mistakes, accidentally put points into something. I mean, you might have put points in resistance in Dark Souls, not realizing it was pretty much useless. And you might have also, like me, created a character in which you made an elemental weapon, which, as you know, removes scaling, so your stats, become useless for helping with the weapon. And then I continued to just pile points into strength and dexterity, thinking just in general that strength and dexterity would in general make your character better. Excuse me. In most RPGs, stats kind of give you these general benefits, and you always have this concept that strength improves your attack. And so in many RPGs, whenever you put points into strength, it just in general improves your damage, almost regardless of what weapon you use. It just generally improves your damage. And when you put points into dexterity, it generally improves your movement or dodge or speed or something like that. Whereas in Dark Souls, Demon Souls, that's not the case. That's very much not the case. In fact, you can put points into dexterity all the way up to 99, and depending on what weapon you're using, that could be completely useless. Do absolutely nothing for you. See, I'm just pounding the roll button and my character just sat there doing nothing. It just feels so silly. I forgot how to tackle this enemy. I think the best thing is to encourage it to fall on its back, I think. And it seems to be following that pattern no matter what I'm doing here. Yeah, it does seem to be doing that. Yeah, right there, that delay on that attack is just monstrous. And then also the rate at which stamina drains in this game and the slow rate at which it restores is nothing short of frustrating. The slow stamina regen just causes you to simply have to move, just do less and just wait longer. Kind of slows everything down. Well, it doesn't kind of slow everything down, it does slow everything down. Not bad, I don't think I got hit by him once. Given how long it's been since I played, I should be very rusty. I do feel rusty in this game. Let's see. Additional reduction of enemy poise. Interesting that, you get an item that reduces your enemy's poise. Not your poise, your enemy's poise. Alright, one thing I do is I don't necessarily worry about tiny moments of silence during the playthrough. I know other Let's Players or people who make playthrough episodes, they'll actually, let me see, I think, is there an item right down here? Yeah. They'll actually go through and speed up or slow down the gameplay footage to try to keep it lined up with their conversation. So if there's this like 10-second gap of silence, they'll maybe try to slow down the footage to stretch it out so that it uses up those 10 seconds so that you don't get 10 seconds of silence. I'm not worried about that kind of stuff, and I don't think you guys are either. Ultimately, I don't think you are. I also forgot there's another thing I want to run and go get. In fact, there's a couple things I want to run and go get just to prepare us for this playthrough. I'm not as good with where everything is in Dark Souls 2 as I am with Dark Souls. But I do have a sort of system set up for myself of what I like to get, and although I haven't settled on a weapon quite yet, I think maybe the longsword would be a good choice. So maybe we'll grab the dragon longsword, if that's what it's called. And I still feel like there's an item around here somewhere I haven't picked up. I think there is. Let's see if I can run through here. Isn't there an item around here somewhere that I haven't picked up? I mean, I guess it's not really that important. Oh, he's always there. That's right. Yeah, right here. Okay. I bought the strategy guide or the guidebook for the game. Really, it's more of a collector's item because, I mean, you buy... I wonder... When I do this, I think the way the game renders... I think I'm seeing some screen tearing, which is very odd. But very little, in fact. I think the way the game renders doesn't quite jive with my G-Sync monitor. And for those of you that don't know, I'm not going to get too technical. Basically, a G-Sync monitor attempts to sync up the refresh rate of the monitor to the frame rate of the game so that you don't have stuttering from syncing it up, and you don't have the screen tearing from when they're not synced up. You can try to force your monitor to sync to the frame rate, which is essentially known as vertical sync. I know that's not exactly what it does, and it's not a perfect explanation, but that's kind of the layman's explanation. This is, I believe, the earliest shield you can pick up in the game if you don't get one automatically. I guess I can try that. I haven't decided on what my fashion's going to be. The reason we have these other shields is simply because they're like pre-order bonuses. They don't really affect much, so you know, I wouldn't worry about them too much. 75, 85, 80, 90. That's a 90 bound wooden shield. I guess we'll go with that. That's got the most block on it. We're still fast rolling, so that's good. That's good. Very good. For the longest time, I did not see this lever right here, or this pulley, simply because it nearly blended in. Like, if you look at it, you know, I guess you can tell if you're carefully examining the environment, but I guess I wasn't being that careful about examining the environment. This game maintains a very, very consistent 60 frames per second, even if you don't have the best of hardware. Even when there are particle effects and all sorts of other things, which is good. But again, part of the reason why, or the main reason why it does so well, is because the textures are really low resolution. They're just not very good. The game doesn't really ultimately look that great. The problem we're going to run into here is adaptability. You have to... excuse me, you have to pump up your adaptability to get a reliable dodge. It affects your iframes, which is just unquestionably a bad decision, because I don't know anybody who thought that that was a good idea. Like, I think the consensus is pretty much that that was a bad choice that they made. There we go. Yeah, I think it's pretty much a consensus that it was simply a bad decision on their part to have the iframes in your roll linked to a stat, especially when you have to dump so many points in. Oh shoot, so many points into the stat before you even really see a benefit. Oh shoot, I didn't know he tracked that well. I guess I forgot. Some enemies you can simply walk to dodge their attacks, and others you need to really roll. Oh shoot. Alright, that's really the extent of what I need here in terms of those guys, but I do want to continue onward to grab some armor. The Sublime Bone Dust is what I was looking for. I'm not going to use it immediately simply because I don't want to have to fight through them again. And the other thing too is I felt it was a little unfair that you put this fairly tough dude right here in an environment where it's so easy to accidentally fall off. What a bunch of punks from software, am I right? And even if you block, shoot, my bad. Uh-oh. Even if you block, it can still knock you off from the knockback, which, again, is, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not that cheap, but it's adding difficulty, that's for sure. Well, is it artificial difficulty? I mean, that term is, it is what it is. You could kind of blame almost anything for being artificial. The whole game's artificial, really. Guess you could say that, huh? The whole game is artificial. Alright. This part, I'm always so divided about whether to bother trying to fight my way through this, or to just run to the boss and tackle the boss on the smaller platform. Let's just do the boss on the smaller platform. How about that? Might be a better idea in general. Goodbye, buddy. Is there an item around here? No. Okay. Now that guy, I guess we could try to get through without having to fight him, but we'll see. Yeah, in Scholar of the First Sin, they have like a dude sitting right here blocking this treasure chest, which is, I'm just like, really? That's, I mean, come on, that's so cheap. Why you gotta be like that, man? Why you gotta be like that? Oh shoot, that was my bad. I think that dodge might have actually worked, were it not for the adaptability agility delay. Oh, shoot, okay. Actually, it might have been better not to summon that guy, because now I'll just do less damage because he'll have more health. Well, I'm not doing less damage, I don't believe. I just believe he's got more health in general. I forget how much damage that guy does, to be honest. My roll timings are always based on having adaptability of what, like 90, 99 or 100 or something. So for me personally, I'm very uncomfortable dodging at these lower agility, I mean, I said adaptability, I meant agility. I'm very uncomfortable dodging at these lower agility. Oh yeah, I forgot about guard break. At these lower agility levels, I'm just not as familiar with the iframes and where they're at. Because you have to dodge differently based on a stat, which, again, is just terrible in my opinion. Poise break? Poise break? Not yet? Okay. Come on, we gotta poise break this guy eventually. Now he's in defensive mode. You can't win by defending. It'll just delay the inevitable. Victory achieved. Dragonrider Soul. This gives you some extra souls early on in the game. You can come fight him, as you can see, with a starting class weapon without any upgrades. In fact, the best, if you can afford to do it, if you got the stats for it, go ahead and grab that mace weapon that we had. What was it, the Morning Star or whatever? Go ahead and grab that and hit him with it. You can poise break him fairly easily. And let's go back and use our souls so we don't lose them. And you can do significant damage, so you can get in that one nice hit and then back away, or maybe the two nice hits and then back out. Excuse me, I got the coughs all of a sudden. I didn't have any coughs until I started. Yeah, see, you have to spam your way through that each and every time. Kind of frustrating. Again, not a big deal, but when you have so many little things that add up over time, yeah, it has an effect, you know? Our agility is now at 94. I'm trying to remember what the agility level is I need to get to. It's either 99 or 100, I think. That gives me the iframes I'm looking for. I know there are more iframes beyond that, but I don't. At that point, I don't need them. At that point, I consider the additional 1 or 2 frames beyond that point to be quite extra, and I'd rather put those points into something else, especially early on in the game. I mean, later on, when I have levels, souls to spare and whatnot, yeah. But at this point, I'd rather put them into, you know, vitality or endurance, or strength or dexterity or whatever it is I need. Heide's Tower of Flame. Heide's, Hoods. Alright, now we're going to continue onward for the Elite Knight Armor set or the Knight Armor set. I can't remember which one it is. The Knight Armor set. We may end up going with the Elite Knight Armor set. I've done it before, but I absolutely love it. I think it looks great in this game. I really do. Given the art style, I think it's probably my favorite looking armor set in the game. Though I will admit, there is another armor set I really like by, see, yeah, that would have been a dodge at the right adaptability rating. Oh shoot, my bad. That was my bad. I'm not even going to pretend to blame that on adaptability. The other armor set I like is the female NPC that you bump into several times throughout the game. I can't remember her name. Lucatiel. I was remembering, it sounds like a bird of some sort. I like her armor set a lot. Not the stats, just how it looks. It looks really cool. Yeah, see, you just run out of stamina constantly. I don't feel like it's so much that I'm not managing my stamina. I just feel like they don't restore my stamina in a reasonable time frame. Obviously, they had a different idea of how to balance the game, which I don't share. Oh, I forgot to mention, Depending on when you're watching this, this may already be out. This may already All Night Halberd. I wonder if maybe I should go with a halberd. What's the moveset? What's the moveset here? Obviously, that's a little slow. Yeah, because I'm not able to handle it. No, I think we'll stick with a more mundane weapon, something simple, something that makes sense for a knight. And what really makes sense to me is something like a longsword. You know, a longsword, a claymore. Those make total sense to me. They just do. I just like them. Also, there's no denying that hitboxes in this game are wonky as all get out. They're so wonky. And they're just bad. And a lot of people have constantly tried to argue, oh, well, it's, you know, it's lag, it's not the hitboxes. It's the hitboxes, guys. It's the hitboxes. It doesn't matter what your connection quality is. It doesn't matter whether you're offline or online or NPCs or players. The hitboxes are bad. They're especially bad with players because not only is the hit detection bad, but you've got lag on top of that. So really, it's not lag that causes it. It's lag that just makes it worse. Oh, I forgot about his like 360-degree hit right there. I've learned to go ahead and more freely use life gems. I used to preserve them thinking, oh, I might need it later. I gotta be careful. Adaptability. I hate you so much. Because you can always buy more and farm more, so there's no reason to get stingy with them. No reason at all. Human effigy. Not bad. I didn't even know they could drop human effigies. I think there's, what, nothing down here? Just a room with nothing in it? This is another thing, too. Like, they love putting these kind of areas in the game, and there were a few, very few in Demon Souls and Dark Souls that were useless like this one, but I don't know why, but there are so many useless little crevices and corners in this game that just scream, hey, check this area out, there's something in here, there's gonna be a secret, obviously. Then you go check it out, and there's no secret, there's nothing. It's like, why would you put that there? Why? I guess just to throw you off the trail. Maybe put so many in the game that when there is finally one that has something secret, you might not even realize it because you've been checking them all and they've all produced nothing for you thus far, so you just have given up. That's another danger of game development. If you're not careful, players will give up on checking for secrets if, you know, for the longest period of time during the beginning levels there are no secrets. So you need to put, if you're gonna have illusory walls, you should have them sooner rather than later, in my opinion, so that players realize that they exist at all. Otherwise, you know, players are gonna think they don't exist. We don't have to, but I think it's best to run in here and then sit at this bonfire, just because in case we die, we're at a very close bonfire to come all the way back. And then we can run and go use our levels, I guess. That would be a good idea. And there's Lucatiel. Yeah, I like her armor set. I don't like the mask part of the helmet. I wish the headgear came without the mask. That's how I felt about all the headgear that has masks on it. I just don't like the masks. I think if we kill her, we get her sword. I'll check that out because we might end up doing that. But I'll have to check it out again. I don't want to kill an NPC thinking I'll get their item and then not get it. Although at this point, I think she's moved on to the next area. Hello, young lady. Oh, we gotta use our Sublime Bone Dust, too, before I forget. Bear of the Curse. I know. Okay, we don't have any of those, do we? Okay. Let's see. I like to pump all the early levels into adaptability for the agility, because that's just really, I mean, that's going to make the most difference for me, more so than doing extra damage or having extra health. Being able to dodge reliably without the, what I would consider, broken roll mechanic of lower adaptability or lower agility, to me is just worth it. You know, the faster Estus drinking, all that stuff, that's silly. It's nonsense. It's not, I don't care about that. It's all about the iframes, which really, I feel like they should just patch it out of the game, get rid of it. I feel like it would just be better. feel like you could still keep it balanced too. Just get rid of it. See how that attack phased right through me? Interesting, doesn't it? That last attack he did went clearly right through me, but yet other attacks that seem to do the same thing will not go. Oh shoot. Oh shoot. See, I tried to spam my way through that and I was one attack off. I miscalculated how many attacks to kill him. And I believe it's around the corner from here, and that was the last obstacle on our path. Yes. Sweet deal. So this will put us in a pretty good position to... oh, it's the regular knight set. I'll have to figure out where the elite knight set is. Actually, I think you buy it. That's right. You buy the knights, the elite knight set. I'd like to save up souls and get it as quickly as possible. Interesting that I can still fast roll. Certainly... that's not something you could do like in Dark Souls. If you started out with the knight set, it was a good long while before you could fast roll with the knight set. But then again, this game only, I'm pretty sure this game only has 2 roll speeds. Essentially 2 roll speeds. I know people always correct me and say, well, technically it's got 16 different roll speeds. I know there are these very, very, very minor differences in speeds based on some other factors, but I'm not gonna worry about those. There are essentially 2 major roll speeds. Do I have what it takes to go back? What? Homeward Bones, that's right. I have 1, but I don't want to waste it, so... I don't want to waste the only Homeward Bone I have. Yeah, and the other thing, too, is running. Oh, man, your stamina is just... it's gone in no time flat. You know? Boom, gone. I mean, that's that, guys. Stamina disappears like nothing else. Oh, Sublime Bone Dust. We forgot. You guys were probably like, no, Fox, you forgot the Sublime Bone Dust. So far, so good. No major complaints. I mean, it's alright. Maybe I'll learn to appreciate Dark Souls for what it is. I wouldn't mind if I did. I don't think, ultimately, it's going to change how I feel about the game as a whole. I'm not going to go back and say, hey, actually, guys, I love the game. It's my favorite game. It's better than Dark Souls. Or better than Demon Souls. No, I don't think that's really ever going to happen, obviously, because I just have so many issues with the combat in it. But... I'm feeling great now. Look at this. I got a really nice armor set that I think looks awesome, and it's got some decent stats on it. Got an okay weapon. I'd prefer a different one, but you know, whatever. We'll grab a longsword or something like that. The Heide's sword is pretty good, but it's got that faith element to it that we don't really need to be worrying about. So we got something good going on here, guys. For now, let's see if we can level up. Oh, I forgot, you can actually check how many souls you need to level up without going to a bonfire or to her. 96. I think it is 99 agility. It's either 99 or 100. I'll look it up so I don't waste points. It would be a waste of points to pump adaptability if you're only moving your agility up and in between stat. For example, there are so many points into agility in which you actually get essentially nothing out of it. You have to hit certain... points. You have to hit certain markers in order to actually get, like, for example, when you hit, say you hit 95 and you get another iframe. Then you hit 97 and you get another iframe. I'm giving an example. I don't know if those are the actual numbers. But if you get 1 at 95, and let's say you get 1 at 95 and 1 at 97, well, when you put a point in to get to 96, that's really like a nothing point. You know how in Dark Souls there are sometimes where you have to put 1, 2, or even 3 points into strength in order to get 1 more point of damage out of a weapon? Same thing there. If you put just 1 point in, and it doesn't hit one of those milestones, then you actually get kind of nothing out of it. So, for those points, you shouldn't actually bother with those levels. Maybe until you get more souls, put that into something that'll actually help you, like give yourself another point of endurance, or give yourself another point into your health, or give yourself another point into strength or dexterity, where it'll actually give you some noticeable benefit right off the bat. Oops, no spells to tune. Well, we're not going to do any magic. Never been much into magic in most RPGs. Well, guys, we're almost 45 minutes on the dot. That worked out pretty darn well. So with that, I thank you for joining me. We are going to be completing this. No matter how much I do or don't like it, this will be a complete Dark Souls 2 playthrough. And it'll be the only complete Dark Souls 2 playthrough other than my live blind playthrough, which I don't actually think is enjoyable to watch. I've left it on the channel per requests of people. I've asked them and said, hey, should I just delete it? They've all said, no, it's better to just leave it there for people who want it rather than delete it and then no one can see it. This will be the only real playthrough that I have on either of my channels. The other one I'm talking about, the blind playthroughs, on my FoxeoGames channel. This Let's Play channel is newer. I created this channel just this year, 2015. And with that, my friends, I will see you next time. I hope you're looking forward to it. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video. It really does help. Leave comments below. Comments are awesome. I read them all. I promise you I do, and I respond to quite a few. Follow me on Twitter. There's a link to that. And subscribe to my other channel, FoxeoGames, for game reviews, commentary, and all sorts of cool, witty commentary on the games industry. Later, everybody. Thanks for joining me.